Okay, we'll see today how we will work with document cache. So, so before we going to document cache, right? So this is just need to give you some details about cache. This cache will not store the data permanently. Okay, this cache will store only for the process execution. After process execution is finished, then your cache will be automatically gets cleared. The scope of the data cache is nothing but till the process, once process started, it store it till process execution is completed. After process execution, it's automatically wiped up all the data. So then you might ask why we need to use the document cache. Document cache is used if in the one process during the execution of a process, if you need to query for more than one times or need to look up more than one times, a number of connector calls are executing to do some kind of lookup, similar kind of task. So Boomi recommends that you use only one time and skip for the second execution onwards. Let's say second execution, let's say you have multiple documents. Let's say you have multiple customer records. For every customer record, you need to do a lookup. The customer ID is there or not. Then what you can do is you can just load the entire things. You can query from the database whether all the customers are or not. You take the all customer IDs. You query for whether the customer ID is there or not, and you load it in the cache. So you can directly do the checkup from the cache. You can do the lookup in the cache. You will first to load the data from database wherever you have all the list of objects. That load that into a cache. After that, you can use the decision say where or instead of using the connector call, you can do the lookup within the decision say wherever. So then what happens is with that, we don't need to call the end system or the database, whatever it is, not many times. This is the one advantage. Cache is used to reduce the number of iterations or number of connector calls in the one process execution. That is the one advantage. The other one the advantage would be Other advantage would be as of now, right? So in the map shape, right? You can only you can only have the one profile structure. You can only have one profile structure source and one profile structure have the destination. So using this map shape, using this decision shape within the map shape, what you can get advantage is you can specify document cache. Some here you can see, right? It means you can achieve multi-source profile data can be mapped to one destination profile. You can map multi-destination source profile data to one destination profile. These are the second thing. The third thing what we will be using is, as I mentioned earlier, you would be using these for the attachments for the SOAP web services. You can use this document cache uh, as a as an object to hold the attachments or even to send the attachments in the request and response scenarios. These are the main three advantages. You can use the document cache everywhere. You can use the document cache in the functions also. You have a lookup option here. Okay, document cache lookup. Even you can refer multi-profile, or even you can use a parameter value or in the parameter value also. Not only parameter value in the set properties, anywhere, just selecting randomly. So you can use this parameter value. You can use the cache lookup here, document cache lookup. See, this parameter value is available everywhere, notify shape, message shape, and decision shape, like everywhere. So you have a option of once data is loaded, you have an option of using document cache lookup almost everywhere. So if apart from this, even we have a document cache lookup is there. This is to add a data to the document cache. This is to add a data to document cache. This is retrieve from a cache. This is remove from cache. As the name says that it is just for extracting. This is for removing the and so how this document cache works. Document cache works based on the indexing. So whenever you are writing the data to the document cache, you need to index it out. You need to give a value to the index. You need to define an index and you need to give a value to the index. After the index is given, after the index is given, so what exactly happen is it will store the entire document at that particular index. When you are trying to retrieve it or when you're trying to delete it, you need to give that index, exact index. If you don't give index, you will not get any documents. This is not only that, even you can retrieve the document from the process directly using here. This is when I have an outbound transition because it is a retrieving here. And whereas for a add to cache, the it will not have any outbound transition because it would be behave as a last step in the process. So there is a one more thing. Instead of you using active cache, every connector also has that option, caching option. Even you can specify this. But this is to be only used when the situations. Let's say let's say I wanted to let me take a simple thing here. Let me take a simple thing here. Let me go for this book. Okay. So I will load entire book here. I will load entire books into here. When I am getting a file, okay, I'm getting a file. In the file, I have a list of books, and since we don't have the XPath, since we don't have the XPath efficiently supporting it, since XPath we don't have efficiently supporting it, we can load the data into a cache. All the books that's present in the document in the file, we can split that document into one record. Each record has one book ID. Because why we are doing because is splitting is if if you don't give the split it right, all your entire document will be storing at one index. If you wanted to look based on some book ID whether it is there or not based on some index, you will not able to find the whether each book is there or not because the index would not specific to each book ID. So that's why you split it document. You split the document. It means the file that you are getting is not a readily available for the caching. You need to do some kind of a pre-processing. If you need to pre-processing while you are storing the data, then you cannot use this one. So if you already getting a multiple documents, maybe let's say you are extracting the data from a Salesforce, okay, and in the Salesforce, you are extracting data from a Salesforce, and in the Salesforce, if you are the Salesforce already returning every account information. Let's say you're retrieving an account from a Salesforce. If every account is returning as a separated document, then you can directly use it here. You don't need to process it. If in case if you as I give an example, if the one document has the one file, you are reading a file that has a list of, then you cannot use this one because you literally technically you can use this, but the index is you need to split the document, right? So you don't have an option to split inbuilt here. So that's why we use the connector, data process, split, and then caching. So
Generally, caching the data during the data transformation, so it will be performance issues, right?
you are saying it would be a performance issue or it will save the performance.
Yeah, it will get performance issue. One thing. Second one is to store the data in the cache. Maybe it's, due to the network connection issues, the data will be deleted, right? It means data will not be passed, right?
Yeah, so that thing, right? That thing we need to handle. See, so that's why, right? Why we are using a caching component? If you need to do lookup for every document. You may be connecting to the end system n number of times. As many number of documents you have, you will be connecting. You will be executing a connector called lookup connector times, as many number of times. So during this time, network connection can happen intermediate any one of the things. So and even it would consume lot of IO exception time, timing, all these things. You consider overall process execution time, it would be more. So in that case, what happens? You can only go and fetch all the data in once and store it in cache. So next time onwards, you don't go to the end system, directly go and look up the cache. But still, the cache is where exactly cache will be stored in within the atom. Within the atom, somewhere work directory, some temp directory would be created, and within the atom it would be stored. So compared to going to external system and fetching the data, retrieving the look up the data from within the atom memory is a bit faster. So that's why if you are connecting, if your application is connecting multiple connector calls for one execution, so compared to that, if you use the document cache by avoiding the multiple connector calls to the one document cache lookup, one document cache loading and other many lookups, it will drastically reduce the performance.
So generally, overall, how much size of data we can cache it?
There is
I
no
mean, instead of records or something.
there is no limit. You can store as just store it in an atom memory. That depends upon your atom memory.
But Atom is it is not a on-premises Atom; it's a cloud Atom.
So see, this is one-time execution. After the process execution, it automatically gets cleared. You are not going to store it permanently, right?
Yeah,
You
I agree
yeah.
that one. It will not store permanently, but the data storing in the cloud is not the security, right?
Then if you feel data say storing in a cloud is not secure, then you Boomi already given option of using the on-premise atom. So you can
Okay.
use on-premise, right? You can then that's the main intention they given is. You can use on-premise atom. With that on-premise atom, you can even connect with cloud applications as well, like Salesforce, NetSuite, Workday, all these success factors.
So better if anyone is using Boomi, better go with the on-premise instead of cloud.
We cannot say that depends on customer prospective customer choice. So there are customers they completely use the cloud only cloud items. There are the customer they use both of them.
Yeah, I agree that one, but the customer doesn't know, right, how the data, how the implementation happened.
Yeah.
Uh, they're thinking whether they are getting the data or not, and security point of view, these two scenarios they are looking at. So generally, I'm asking. So as per the beneficial process, on-premise is the more useful than the cloud.
Yes, in your perspective, it would be more useful when you're thinking in terms of a security perspective.
Okay.
Yeah. So that depends on customer's choice. So if you set up on-premise, you need to take all the headaches, like you need to take care of memory, you need to take care of atom restarts, atom your machine goes down, or upgrading the data, clearing the logs, like these things, common things, the way how you use a traditional on-premise softwares, you need to do the same kind of task. So basically, if you are setting up in on-premise atom, basically you need to set up an IT team. So that all taken into the consideration when they are taking decision on creating a on-premise atom or a cloud atom. If it is really necessary, they'll go for on-premise.
Okay. So one admin is required, mandatory admin.
Yeah, right. Compulsory. Somebody has to monitor it, right? When atom goes down, atom is up, or yeah, locks need to clear on frequent interval, maybe every month or every 15 days, something.
Yes, correct.
That's the document. So document cache lookup. One second. So here what we're going to do is here there is a sample XMLs are there. There is an shipping cost XML here is there. How it looks like shipping cost XML. So where exactly here is it has a multiple regions. Based on the region, shipping cost is shipping based on the region and based on the total order price. Uh, shipping total would be vary. So there is an order file here. This order file basically it has the information about the customer and customer address based on the customer shipping country address. Then these things will be then these prices would be loading into the these prices would be taking into when calculating the total order price. So these are order quantity, all the things. So what we are going to do here is what we are going to do here is so first I'll wanted to I wanted to get all these customers. So this is the one set of file and this is the other set of file. So what I'm going to do, I'll load all these things into a cache, and when this document comes, when this document comes, I'll just go and fetch the corresponding shipping total based on the max purchase price. I'll go and fetch the shipping total. Okay. So this is what I'm going to do here. So this way, even if let's say this is an account object and this is a customer object, okay, maybe you want to generate a report where it has the information. The report should have the both account object and customer object. Then basically, generally in Salesforce, a contact is a one sub object of an account. So always a contact object will have a reference to an account. So in that case, if you want to generate a one report that has a account and contacts, it means basically kind of multi-profile that you can do with I can say merging, basically merging accounts and contacts into one single file, so that you can that also you can do with self document cache. So but just for I'm going to take this is a one this example. Let's take let's take the disconnector. Let's pass the parameter. As I mentioned, you need to split the documents based on the destination here, because I wanted to create an index for every region, because I'm going to search based on the region based. So let's say an XML. We are going to create a profile here and import it. I do have an XLD here. So the root element here would be a shipping cost. Narendra, can you mute your mic? Let me split based on the destination. Then we are going to load it in a add to cache. Let's create a document cache. So document cache can be used for any type of profile, XML, EDA, database, path file, JSON. So when it is none means it basically whenever you want to store raw data or binary data, you're going to use none. So this is especially used for the SOAP attachments. So now we are XML user profile, add an index. Index, let's say what's the index I want to have it. Let's say I want to have the region. Okay, region I want to have index. You can define as many index as you want. For every index, you can have you can have a different types of different number of fields you can have. Whether for this index, how you want to define an index. Whether you want to define an index based on the profile data, or you want to define a document property. Maybe if you want to, let's say you want to enforce in a queue, you might be concatenating more than more than one field. And then you can define using set property somewhere. You can define that combination, and you can define the document property as well. So in our case, we are using a profile element here. The profile element, it automatically loads the profile, and it gives me region one. Even you can remove this, you can alias, you can remove a long naming convention as well. So this is what I want to just load. Okay, shaping of document as example. Let's this is the one branch. Let me load this branch. Documentation.
One more, sorry, maybe I forget sometime. In Mule, we have a object store, so which will be stored data, and we can retrieve the same data whenever we want after some time.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, I will tell you one small example scenario. Suppose one batch scheduling at morning 10 a.m. IST.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so daily it will trigger 10 a.m. So whenever it's completing, it will be stored the timestamp in one place, like
Mm-hmm.
cache.
Okay.
Okay, so for example, unexpectedly the application is get down, and
Uh,
so the admin is getting restarted. So once getting restarted, again it's going to be trigger the service, right? I mean batch.
mm-hmm.
So it will be pull the data from the timestamp when it was down the system. For example, today afternoon at 2 o'clock, the application is shut down, and it
Okay.
take 3 hours time to recover the application drop.
Okay.
Between 3 hours time, so whenever the job is running, so it will pick every time from the system date. It means nothing but server date.
Okay.
Okay, but I want the pick the records from when the application is get done. It means from the 2 o'clock onwards, I have to run the batch.
Mm-hmm.
So that 2 o'clock, right? The timestamp is keep in the cache somewhere, and whenever it running the application, every time it will go and pick from the cache and it trigger the batch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so whenever it's getting shut down and again it getting up and go to the cache and what is the date it has previously, then pick the date and continuously it will be executing the batch. So
Okay.
will cache will use for the same scenario?
You don't require to use the cache. Cache you cannot use in that case because it's are basically correlating data from the different process executions. let's say previous execution data you want to access in the next execution data, right?
Yes.
It might be in your scenario, it might be a timestamp or some other data. So in that case, right, Boomi already have an option here. Okay. So how you want to get the data is basically there are two options. Okay. If you refer current date time, right? You have Boomi has two predefined date times are there. The current date time is basically where it retrieves the system date. When I say system date means atom wherever your atom is installed on that particular atom time zone it will be retrieving it. Relative
Okay.
time is basically you can reduce it plus or minus. Let's say you want to take 2 days advance or you want to do take 1 minute something. It's a different frequent interval.
Frequency scheduler.
Last run date. So last run date basically there is a last successful run date. There is a difference here as a name convention. Last run date is basically it captures the run date when your process was last run.
Mm-hmm.
This is the last successful run date is. It means whether your process is run success or whether your process is failure, it doesn't matter, it captures the date. Last successful
Okay.
run date. It means it only records the date when your process is successfully completed. When I say successfully or not successfully, in the sense, process, how the things happen is once process execution started, after ending the process execution will be set to the complete or error. When you will be handle error is if any exception is occurred and that you have not handled that exception, then process status will set to an error. One more case, if the process exception has an error, catch that error, you did some processing, and then again you rethrow the error. Then again it will status will be changed to error. If you catch an
Okay.
exception, you handle that one. Okay, you handle that one, and then process status will not set to an error because you have an error that you already handled the error. So in that case, success means only when you have a successful process status is set to success, then only this timestamp will be recorded. In that case, when last run is there, in last run you can take the difference of these two dates to get the in case if you want to identify the in case if you want to identify the failure scenarios. Okay, this is the one way to achieve it. Okay, but when in terms of this is only when some error occurred when you are trying to push the file to downstream system during that case this one. But when the atom is goes down, right, so this the timestamps also will go on. So in that case, what you need to do is you need to use the process properties, whatever dynamic process property or process property component. We have an option of persist this property. When you are
Mm.
doing this persist this property, what happens is whatever the value you set for this particular property in the current execution, it will be stored to a disk. And when you are trying to execute for the next execution of the process, the next half an hour, next scheduling interval, you can retrieve this value. You can retrieve the
Correct.
value of the previous one. So you can based on that you can manipulate your timestamps how you want to do it, or else you can even if the process does not even run when atom is down, this will be same as your when your last execution was there.
Yeah. So we are using object store.
So you can for timestamps and everything, right? When you want to correlate data from one execution to other execution, basically the persistence property is used.
Correct. Thank you.
Once persistence property is there, you can have an option of editing this data. You can even see what data is there in the atom management by selecting an atom here, deployed processes. You can edit process properties. If any persistent properties are there, it will show here. By default, it last run date, last successful run date supposed to show. I think in the feature edition they removed it. So you can directly see it. You can also delete it. You can also add it, something like that.
Okay.
So basically that those things earlier also they give an option of for managing from here. I don't know, but why it's removed it. So still you can have the values will be stored always. So you might have seen that. Go here. Open a new window. Bhumi atom sphere. Atom execution. So you might have executed the process right earlier. So let's see that execution. There, this is the other one, not this one. You can see every process. This is it's not an execution. Basically, this is a process ID.
Yes.
This is a process ID. So this will be every time when you run a execute process, it stores the last run date and last successful run date. I think it stores in milliseconds. Uh, when you're trying to retrieve the data in process, right? The way how you store it, whatever the format you store it, it will automatically you can retrieve in the same format. But just when Boomi handles that seconds to that expected date format at runtime.
Okay. This is not milliseconds. This is some type of conversion.
I'm
Forget
not
the name. Epic or some conversion is there. Unix.
I'm not sure about this, but basically, whatever the date format you have it while storing it, you can get the data in that format. If date, if other data, it will directly store it here.
Okay. Mm. Epoch time format.
Okay, okay, okay. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm just loading the data to a cache. When I'm trying to retrieve the data, I have an option of based on the index or complete data. Okay, now let me run this one. It says that file does not exist. Hold on a second. It is showing that. Here, right? Is there shipping cost? Sorry, I given ulta. So directory value, file value. You can see that how many documents is being loaded. 4 documents is being loaded, and you can see that same 4 documents would be getting this one because I mentioned as a to receive all the documents. But if I want to retrieve only the specific document type, so I can just put a region. So then it asks me to pass a value here. Let's say I want to pass only USA. You can see only receive one document. Even though you are processing, you are loaded multiple documents, whatever the data you want, you will be able to retrieve this.
So it's type of criteria.
Yes.
Another way of criteria. Generally, we can do it using map.
Yeah.
Okay.
So not only static value, you can pass any combination of values here. So this is how the document cache works. Let me just
give you the one more thing, document cache. The written document is not there, not required. I'm going to create one more process here. Where I'm going to read it. So I can take anything because I'm going to override these values at from parameters window. So here we will be having there's no shipping country. I wanted to calculate the shipping cost. Shipping cost. So we'll try to retrieve the data as of now. So later we will do the how the calculation can happen. Okay. First I'm going to do a branch here for calculating the shipping cost. So here I can retrieve the document caching. Even you can use map shape as well. So here I am going to use a profile element here. Profile element. I don't know why it's not asking to create. Let me create it from here. Where is this profile? So there would be an order here. Basically, if you define all these elements right in the schema as an global elements, then that's why it shows basically multiple elements. So it will give us option to select which is the root element you want to select.
Okay. Okay. So this document cache, you can load it in sub process and use it in parent process anywhere. Like
So what I'm going to do here is the first branch. I'm just loading it to a document cache. The second branch, I'm going to withdraw so I'm going to retrieve these values from the cache, and third branch, whatever the processing wanted to do it, will do some processing it. Okay. After defining profile, I did not specify the index here because earlier it's not allowing me to create a profile here. So I created a profile. I can pass the value here. I need to select, I don't know why it's giving me the menu order. Should be a shipping country. You can see that we were able to load it here, and after loading, we were able to retrieve the document here. You can see that particular things are retrieved. So basically, we are going to use the same example in the tomorrow for using a user-defined function to calculate the total price. Total price. Let's say in this particular, right. So we can calculate the total price. We can see the total price is already there. If this total price, right, total price is less than this max purchase price. Let's say in this case is 50. Okay, 50. Why it's not editable? We are right on the flag. Okay, let's say this is 50. Then if this total price is less than max purchase price, so the 50 is less than 250, it's 40, 50 is less than 500, then I need to do the sum of shipping total. 40 plus 60, 100 I need to calculate. We'll use user defined functions to create this. So after that we'll extend this process to, after calculating shipping cost, we'll do some kind of consolidation, how what is the total price for the customer. So this way, even if you want to use, so generally what other things we use it in process, right? In the first branch of you loading it some way here, right? If you are getting multiple documents here. So what the general practice will follow here is, first they will define one decision shape here to check whether document cache is loaded or not. First time it will just go ahead and load it in the connector here. Just load the data into the connector. After that, if the connector has some data, right? Basically, we'll just some set property, something like the set property will just store something like file content, by default file content, something will set it as a current data, something will be there, or something you will set as a flag, something like true or something. It means if this particular flag set to true, means the document cache is loaded. So you need to set a logic like that. Branch, you can check it, the branch, the first branch. You can in the first branch you can set up this connector. In the second branch you set the property. In the decision shape you will be going to check the same property here. this way, what happens, right? When multiple documents are coming, by default, what would be the value of property? Any property, all properties are strings. So by default, property value will be null. So if the start shape is generated more than one document, right? Let's say if start shape is generated more than one document, then for the first document it comes, and the first document it will just this value is not equal to true. Value is not equal to true, then it will goes for the false path. Okay, it goes for the false path. The false path, what it will do, it just load the it will connect to the source system, and it will get all the lookup data and store it in the cache, and set the flag saying that it's already cached, and then it execute the remaining process wherever it's executing it. But when it comes to second time, right? When it comes to second time, basically this condition would be true, and then it's not going to connect the same one. So next time onwards, you're going to do the lookup. You will be continuing with the process, and wherever you require this data, you will do the lookup, document cache lookup.
Yeah, for coming second time, there is no flow control, right?
Not required, right? Flow control. Flow control is not
Second time is just like second
by
document.
default it allows. By default it allows. No need
Okay.
to have flow control. See how the document execute first, it will execute all the shapes here, all the documents. Again, it will proceed for the next. Again, proceed for the next. Again, proceed for the next. If you want one document execution to be sequence, then you need to use a flow control. So multiple documents are coming. Okay, when multiple documents are coming, so so basically we'll have one document, and one document you will be splitting into multiple documents generally. So in that case, for the first document, you will be going through these shapes. If you don't put flow control, right? Yes, in this case you need to use the flow control. Why? Because if you don't use the flow control, right? So then all the documents, right? Let's say multiple documents are coming here. The multiple documents execute here, and all the multiple documents is executing for the first document, second document doesn't matter, right? So all documents executing here. All the documents will goes for the true path or false path at one time. So that case you can use the flow control. The first document will go and do the caching. Second document, right, will go for the false path.
Yes.
So generally, we'll use the decision reset properties as a key logic to identify the document cache is loaded or not, to avoid multiple connector calls after a document cache is introduced. Okay. So when we are having a Salesforce, right? When we are discussing a Salesforce, right? Maybe next day too, we'll start the Salesforce. So we'll show you this document cache. You can also try it. You can try it to after Salesforce given, right? Your account next contacts to have try to query two objects, and first account contacts objects query and load it in the for cache, and accounts object along with the account details. You also try to retrieve the first name, last name, title, some basic contact details. You try to retrieve and generate one CSV file or report or load it into the database, something like that.
Okay.
So you can also try that. So tomorrow we'll see how we can work with user-defined functions, and also how we can work with. I'm going to explain how we are going to work with custom scripting in Boomi. So yesterday I created a small process, dividend calculation process. So to just I'll explain tomorrow this one. When we are going with custom scripting, I'll explain this
Okay.
one. Okay. Okay. We'll meet tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.